Once upon a time, in the depths of the North American wilderness, there lurked a legend so chilling it sent shivers down the spines of those who dared to whisper its name. This is the tale of the Wendigo, a creature of darkness, born from the depths of human despair and desperation. As the story goes, many moons ago there lived a hunter whose name has long been forgotten by the annals of time. He was a solitary figure, a master of the wilderness, navigating the tangled undergrowth with ease and skill. But even the most seasoned hunters can become lost in the labyrinth of the woods. And so it was that this hunter found himself ensnared by the icy grip of winter's harsh embrace. Frost clung to his beard like a coat of silver, and the hunger gnawed at his belly like a relentless beast. He had ventured far from his village in pursuit of prey, but now, with each passing day, his provisions dwindled, and desperation clouded his mind like a gathering storm. In the depths of his solitude and starvation, the hunter's thoughts turned dark, twisted by the insatiable ache of his empty stomach. He began to entertain thoughts unthinkable to any sane mind, thoughts of survival at any cost, even if it meant forsaking the very essence of his humanity. And so it was, on a night as cold and cruel as death itself, that the hunter succumbed to the primal urges that had clawed at his soul. With trembling hands and a heart heavy with guilt, he committed the ultimate taboo, feasting upon the flesh of another human being. But such depravity doesn't go unpunished in the realm of the wild. As the last morsel of tainted meat slid down his throat, the hunter felt a change come over him, a transformation both terrible and irreversible. His skin stretched tight against his bones, his eyes burned with a frenzied hunger, and his limbs contorted into grotesque shapes. He had become something other than human, a creature of shadow and frost, cursed to roam the forest for all eternity in search of prey to sate his endless hunger. He was the first Wendigo, a harbinger of doom and despair, a reminder of the darkness that lurks within the hearts of men. And so, the legend of the Wendigo was born, a cautionary tale of the dangers that lie in wait for those who dare to tread too far into the wilderness, both in body and in spirit. For as long as there are lost souls and winter's chill, the Wendigo will continue to haunt the depths of the forest, a silent sentinel of fear and regret. The legend of the Wendigo is steeped in the traditions of the Algonquin tribes, who passed down stories of the creature from generation to generation. To them, the Wendigo was a symbol of greed, famine, and cannibalism, a warning against the darkness that lies within the human heart. The stories surrounding the Wendigo vary, as diverse as the landscapes it haunts. Some describe it as a skeletal figure, its flesh ashen and stretched taut against its bones, while others speak of a towering giant, reaching heights of up to 15 feet, its form monstrous and imposing. But regardless of its appearance, there are common threads that weave through each telling. Its eyes, they say, are sunken or ablaze with an otherworldly light. Its mouth filled with sharp, yellowed fangs, its lips either chewed to ribbons or entirely absent, consumed by its insatiable hunger. The Wendigo may be hairless, its skin leathery and pallid, or it may be covered in fur, its body twisted into grotesque shapes adorned with pointed ears, horns, or antlers like those of a deer. But it is not merely its ghastly visage that strikes fear into the hearts of those who hear its name. No, the Wendigo possesses abilities beyond mortal ken. Eyesight keen enough to pierce the veil of night, hearing sharp enough to catch the slightest whisper on the wind, and a sense of smell so acute it can track its prey through the deepest snowdrifts and across the frozen expanse of lakes. It is said to dwell in the coldest reaches of the land, among the shadowed woodlands and icy waters of Canada and the northern United States, where it moves with a grace that belies its monstrous form, gliding effortlessly through the snow and ice like a spectre of the winter's chill. Encounters with the Wendigo were said to be harrowing experiences, with victims plagued by feverish nightmares and the stench of death that followed the creature wherever it roamed. But fear not, for there are those who stand against the Wendigo, those who dare to challenge the darkness that lurks within the depths of the forest. Shamans, wise in the ways of magic and mystery, are said to hold the key to the creature's downfall, armed with bullets forged from silver, steel, or iron, or blades honed to a razor's edge. Some tales speak of a more drastic solution, of hearts cut from chests and consumed by flame, the only way to truly banish the Wendigo spirit from this world. And yet, despite these efforts, there are those who believe that the Wendigo is more than a mere physical entity, that it is a spirit, a malevolent force that possesses the hearts and minds of men, turning them to madness and despair. In Cree mythology, the Wendigo is seen as an evil spirit entering the souls of the greedy and the gluttonous, driving them to acts of unspeakable horror. To go Wendigo is to become a vessel for its dark power, to be consumed by an insatiable hunger that can never be sated. The legend of the Wendigo is as old as the North American wilderness itself, woven into the tapestry of oral history long before the arrival of Europeans on these lands. Across the vast expanse of forest and mountains, among the tribes that called this untamed landscape home, the story of the Wendigo served as a cautionary tale, a warning whispered around firesides to young and old alike. The concept of the Wendigo transcends mere folklore. It is a powerful metaphor that captures the essence of human greed and the destructive forces it unleashes upon society and the natural world. In addition to its portrayal as a cannibalistic monster in traditional folklore, the Wendigo embodies a corrosive drive towards self-aggrandizing greed and excessive consumption. It represents the unchecked pursuit of personal gain at the expense of others and the environment, a drive that leads to disharmony, destruction, and imbalance. Anthropologists speculate that the legend of the Wendigo emerged as a reflection of the harsh realities faced by indigenous communities in the northern wilderness. In a world where survival depended on banding together and sharing resources, particularly during the brutal winters, the Wendigo symbolized the dangers of greed, selfishness, and isolation. It embodied the primal fears of cold and hunger, reminding the people of the importance of community and cooperation. The earliest written record of the Wendigo dates back to 1636, penned by Paul Le Jeune, a French Jesuit missionary living among the Algonquin people in what is now Quebec. In his account, Lejeune describes a woman warning of a man-eating monster that had devoured members of the tribe. Throughout history, there have been chilling accounts of individuals driven to madness and violence, their actions attributed to the influence of the Wendigo. One such case occurred in 1879 in Alberta, Canada, where a Cree hunter named Swift Runner claimed a Wendigo spirit had entered his dreams, compelling him to commit unspeakable acts of cannibalism against his own family. He was tried and hanged for his crimes. Another tragic incident unfolded in 1907 among the Sandy Lake First Nation community in northern Ontario, where tribal shaman Jack Fiddler and his brother Joseph were charged with the murder of Joseph's daughter-in-law. They believed she was on the brink of becoming possessed by a Wendigo and acted to prevent it, though their actions led to legal consequences and ultimately their own demise. By the early 20th century, the term Wendigo psychosis had entered the lexicon of psychologists and missionaries, describing a culture-bound syndrome among Native and First Nations people. Symptoms included delusions of possession, depression, violence, and a disturbing compulsion for human flesh. This syndrome was retroactively diagnosed in historical cases of cannibalism, though its existence remains disputed among scientists. As time passed and the world changed, the legend of the Wendigo endured, its story passed down through the ages as a warning to future generations. And though the wilderness may have grown quieter and the shadows less menacing, the memory of the Wendigo lives on, a reminder of the consequences of unchecked greed and consumption. It urges us to reflect on our actions and strive for harmony, balance, and respect for all beings in the world around us. In the end, the legend of the Wendigo is more than just a story. It is a warning, a call to arms against the darkness that lurks within us all. It is a reminder that we are all connected, bound together by the fragile threads of our shared humanity. And it is only by recognizing and confronting the Wendigo within ourselves that we can hope to banish it from our world once and for all. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to hear more stories from around the world, let me know in the comment section.